right. Now the last basic fundamental of trumpet, which is articulation or tonguing. Now, we've gone through all of these things, tone, lip slurs, different flexibility things, and we're always talking about making it as similar to playing one long column of air, one long note as possible. So, tonguing is where that can easily become a problem. So we're going to actually be basing our approach of getting into tonguing and articulation around keeping that from happening. So, first thing, just play your tone. Don't tongue, just breath attack, just so it slid into the note a little bit. I'm making a good sound. I'm trying to fill up. I'm trying to like what's coming out of my horn. All right, so now we want to try to add kind of a ding to the beginning of the note. You want it to sound like a ringing a bell. Okay, now let's talk about the tongue now that you heard what we're trying to do. People talk about different places of tongue, ways of tongue. Some people maybe tongue between their lips. I have a little bit of that. I think of it as kind of a problem. I think there's certain applications that tonguing right between the lips makes sense. But if you think about it, you're putting your tongue against this squishy surface that's just, it's not going to give you a strong articulation of a point. Whereas if you tongue where most people talk about tonguing, which is behind the upper teeth, maybe even right below where the gum is, then your tongue is hitting a hard surface so it can bounce and come off and get out of the way of the airstream as quick as possible. That is the biggest problem with articulation, is trying to use it to tongue and trying to keep it from messing with the airstream in a way that you don't like as relates to your tone. So we want to start with just long notes. So try to just tongue with a nice bell ringing tongue articulation and then hold the tone out. So the reason we're doing this is because we want to train ourselves so that the tongue is just right at the beginning of the note. The articulation just ushers in the wonderful tone that just immediately comes after the articulation. We don't want it to be like or like, it needs to be da, da. All right, now let me talk about ways to kind of get the feeling of how the tongue should feel. Basically, you want to make a D sound with the ever so slightest amount of TH in it. So like D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D. So I want you to do that a lot. Everywhere you go D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D. And you'll start to feel that feeling that it kind of gives you that feeling here. You got a solid hose nozzle, as I talked about earlier, and then you can kind of feel. Some people say it's like spitting rice. If you've ever done that, but yeah, do a lot of those. D D D D D D D D D D D D. Do it with your arm, kind of like you're gonna play the trumpet. D D D D D D D D D D D D D D D. All right, now what I want you to do is we're slowly going to tongue more than one note. We're going to tongue more than one time during a long tone. So, I mean, I could sit around all day trying to make the perfect little strike that interrupts the air in the least, mitigating way. Just allows the air to keep happening. Steady airstream. So, you can slowly make them closer together. So did you hear there when I sped it up kind of a significant amount there, I got worse at the tongue all of a sudden. So this is a delicate balancing act of not moving too quickly until you're habitually getting that sound out of one long note. Then add another tongue. And don't move on from that in the middle tongue until you're really getting the smooth sound. Then slowly start to add a couple tongues and, but make sure to rest. Don't hold things out too long. Don't kill yourself. So take your time, slowly explore things. Remember, the air and the column that is blowing through the trumpet, filling it up, full vibration, a car engine's in tune, that is always going on. All these little things like tonguing and changing the pitch and move, those are nothing. Those are like fluttering butterflies. The main thing that's going on is the air. No matter what we're doing, we want relaxed compression and we want an airstream that just naturally propels itself through the trumpet, inhibited by nothing we try to do, whether we're bending pitches, changing notes with lip slurs, articulating, doesn't matter. It always needs to just be a constant, steady stream of air. And later, when you get into stopping and having space between the notes and stuff, you'll find that there's a way that you mentally continue to think constant air. You keep the mentality of constant air going so that never leaves your mind. You're never like, you're always whether we're letting it out slow or letting it out faster, playing soft, playing loud, playing high, it doesn't matter. It's always going to have the same nature to it. It's going to be natural and relaxed and full for what it's doing. Now we have learned the basic fundamentals of playing trumpet in a very stripped down way that is really focusing on the physics of the trumpet and just barely getting into what you actually are doing playing the trumpet. To move past this, we're going to begin to get into things that are more in the general world of being a trumpet player. But these first lessons you should always go back to. These are the fundamentals of playing trumpet. If you pull this rug out from under you through bad habits and learning things faster than you should, forcing things, it will not be fun. Trust me. Everybody has to maintain their fundamentals. You will always be going back to remembering the way these things feel, redescribing to yourself in these simple terms that I've laid out how things are really happening on a fundamental level. And if you can really get that right, along with the learning approach from the very first video, all of that working together, as we go out from here, everything you learn, everything you practice, you will achieve twice as much result as you would have if you had developed, say, a few bad habits that you were constantly working against. You have become good. You are doing great things, yet you're still working against these bad habits. I am actually a perfect example of that type of player. I had a lot of experiences where I played really poorly for a while and developed lots of bad habits. And I've gotten over a lot of them, and I've gotten around a lot of them. They're there. They're like scars. I'll never really truly get rid of the evidence of the fact that I went through that, as amazing as I could get if I really put the time in. So, I cannot stress to you enough, if it's not easy, you're doing it wrong. It has to be easy. Everything happens behind the teeth. Air, breath, lung, tonguing, articulation, lip slurs, open throat. All of that is behind the teeth stuff. None of this does anything except support. It is like steel beams. Your face is like steel beams in a building supporting it. Oh, that is fun stuff. Honestly, I'm telling you the truth. As exciting as all these different things we can get into in the future, classical music, jazz playing, lead trumpet, high notes, crazy stuff, trumpet. Hey, it's exciting. This is what will make you be able to do all of that. If you can't do this, you can't do that. And as frustrating as it is, and no matter how much you might want to be good tomorrow and do something awesome tomorrow, you need to know when to stop yourself. You need to know when you're forcing it. You need to know when you're hurting yourself. And you need to be disciplined enough to accept that you should put the horn down. Pick it up 5 or 10 minutes later. Remember to be relaxed. Remember not to force. Try what you were doing again and stay relaxed. Try to let it happen. Try to allow the trumpet to guide you towards the proper way to do it. Only the trumpet truly knows the proper way to play it. So the only way you will learn how to play the trumpet is if you learn from the trumpet.